Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, check out Patreon or the YouTube membership program. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check out all their links in the video description below. Once again, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is, of course, Jeskai Sharkstill, one of my signature decks. It's a deck that I put down a few months ago after playing it at serious tournaments. I took it to a Star City event and I made top 8. I took it to the Legacy Pit, and after a couple runs through tournaments, I realized, why am I doing all this work for Standstill when I could just cast Expressive Iteration? And I didn't have a good answer for that. But Expressive Iteration is banned now, and as soon as it was banned, Kath Big Frog, one of my Patreon mods, rallied the community to get Sharkstill back into the queue. So this is from Kath in the Discord. Shout out to everybody there. It's also something that obviously the comments and the community outside the Discord were clamoring for immediately when EI got banned. Standstill, of course, 1-0 blue enchantment. Whenever a player casts a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. The goal here is to win the game without casting spells, or at least put enough pressure on your opponent without casting spells that they have to cast a spell, and you get a little 2-mana Ancestral Recall. The ways to do that: Currency Converter. Whenever you discard a card, you can exile that from your graveyard. 2 tap, draw a card, discard a card. Tap, put a card exiled with Currency Converted into your graveyard. If it's a land, make a treasure. If it's a non-land, make a 2/2 black rogue. This can fix your hand, make use of all these extra cards you have with Standstill, and put threats on the board. And it costs 1, so it curves perfectly into Standstill. This is a real threat that your opponent will have to answer right away. If you go Currency Converter into Standstill, they're going to have to counter Standstill or just pop it and give you 3 cards right away, because they won't win the long game here. Timeless Dragon, Plane Cycles for a land drop, which is something you're always happy with in blue-white control decks. And then Eternalize, also not a spell. You can do all this under Standstill, make yourself a 4/4, and hit a land drop. Shark Typhoon is the name of the game. This is Sharkstill. This is the card that brought Standstill back on the map after many years of kind of chilling. Cycling this gives you an XX blue shark and draws you a card, and of course is not a spell. Your opponent can't face down many gigantic flyers before they have to cast a spell and give you 3 more cards. All of Heliod's Generosity can loop Standstills or Shark Typhoons in the late game. Make sure you never run out of cards, never run out of threats, keep the party going. And that's the core of the deck. The rest of it you just kind of season to taste with blue-white control stuff. Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, Force of Will, Brainstorm, Ponder. Some Planeswalkers. And this is a card that people have been asking me about putting me in Standstill since the moment it got first introduced to the Legacy format. I told you it was coming, and here it is. Staff of the Storyteller. Comes into play, make a token. Whenever you make a token, put a counter on it. White tap, remove a counter, draw a card. Staff of the Storyteller basically turns all of your win conditions into win conditions that also draw a card. Make a rogue, an extra white, you draw a card. Make a samurai, pay a white, draw a card. Make an Eternalized Dragon token, pay a white, draw a card. Cycle Shark Typhoon, draw a card to get a shark, then draw another card. You see what's happening here. I will admit that in deck building, I was slightly concerned about Staff of the Storyteller because it doesn't really feed the plan. Staff of the Storyteller is not an object you can resolve and then just go nuts with a Standstill on top of it. You still need to do what you were already doing. Like Currency Converter fixes your hand while making additional threats. It does either. Staff of the Storyteller draws cards when you're already making threats in another means. So this card, I'm a little worried that it might be anemic. The games where it works, sometimes you are just 1 or 2 cards away from stabilizing and winning with this deck. And getting an extra card off of every Currency Converter activation sounds pretty insane. I imagine we'll see good spots for this, but I I do have concerns that it doesn't exactly do what we want, and it might be a little bit of win more. That's why there's only 2 in the deck. It is worse than Currency Converter in this deck, just straight up worse. You can't curve Staff of the Storyteller into Standstill. It's not a 1-drop. It shouldn't be a 1-drop. It's very good at 2, but it doesn't make any sense. And it's kind of a low impact play once you've drawn 3 cards with Standstill to untap on turn 3 and haha, Staff of the Storyteller. Gotcha. Like, what are we doing here? So I got my eyes on this one. I think it's worth testing because it is going to pop off in the situations where you have this with any other token machine. It is a draw engine when you're not in a spot to Standstill, which I like that pivot. But this card is closer to Standstill number 5 and 6 than it is to Currency Converter number 3 and 4. They're just doing different things. It's important in deck building to understand what your deck does, what it needs to do, and how you leverage your 60 slots to make that happen. So I am on an experimental 2-of for Staff of the Storyteller in my Standstill shell here. The cards I cut to make these 2 were 1 Teferi Time Raveler and 1 Wandering Emperor. So I'm down to 0 Teferi and only 1 Emperor. We'll see if that makes any sense, but really the Planeswalkers and maybe the Supreme Verdict, maybe one of the counter spells, are the only places you could really make that trim. Because everything else is essential to the core plan. There's not a lot of flex slots in this deck right now, and Teferi is nice, but not doing a specific thing for the deck. Wandering Emperor is doing a specific thing for the deck, but it's the type of thing that Staff could do on a more efficient mana value. I don't know, to be determined. I'm just saying that the excitement of, oh wait, it's a card draw engine with tokens, obviously goes into Sharkstill. I don't know that that's true, but I'm going to try 2 of them, see how it performs, and I'll keep an eye on it. My sideboard, as always, is pretty stacked up against combo or lands is a huge problem for this deck, because that's a deck that can win under Standstill better than you can. So you need some answers in the form of like Ruination for that. Wear Tear can answer specific problems in the metagame. It's really good against any of the 8-cast or Stompy decks. Basically, Urza Saga is your nightmare, because any deck that is a dedicated Urza Saga deck, there's a good chance that they're better under Standstill than you are. So Wear Tear, poking at the Urza Sagas. Any deck with Urza Saga will have artifacts in it, and then the saga itself is an enchantment, so Wear Tear frequently kills 2 things, including the Urza Saga. That's why I'm on that instead of something more traditional like Meltdown. This sideboard could have Dress Down in it, and it just doesn't right now. These are just... It's what you want to target in the Magic Online metagame. I'm worried about Storm, Reanimator, Oops All Spells, that kind of thing, more than I'm worried about Doomsday. But this deck does have some reasonable play against Doomsday anyway. Standstill plus casting a spell makes them draw 3 cards, which could mess up their pile or kill them outright. You just got to decide what you want to target, and I've gone for Storm and Reanimator kind of things, rather than a generic open meta. And this is my post-ban plus Staff of the Storyteller take on Jeskai Sharkstill. Let's do it. I'm on the playing game 1, Island Ponder. I'm keeping this, and then if Ponder comes up with the land, we jam Standstill. Alright, Ponder, come up with the land. I get to see 5 cards before I miss a land drop. Ponder sees up to 4, and then I have a draw step. This is why these decks are constructed in this fashion. Please don't betray me. Okay, easy money. We got there. I don't love what's under here, but I'm not going to send a land away. Really wanted basic planes, the ability, or access to basic planes, the ability to play around Wasteland while pivoting. Oh no, you're Merfolk? Oh. I cannot play Standstill into an Aether Vial. That is for sure, especially knowing what's next. Hitting a red source instead of a white source there was devastating. But I could still hit a white source off this Ponder, clear this Aether Vial, and work towards the next turn. I shuffle this, and did not hit on the white source. I have 2 endings. White source off the top gives me clear Aether Vial into Standstill. We could still do this. Merfolk, huh? Oh, I guess this could be Nope, it's definitely Merfolk. I was about to say this could be Cephalid Breakfast, but it's not. Cephalid Breakfast would not play Wasteland. And when you're a deck built to not get Wastelanded, when your opponent plays Wasteland, it's really bad for you. Basic Plains off the top. Let's go. Oh my god. Okay, pass the turn. We're experiencing important lessons here about what happens when you build your deck to do a thing, and your opponent's deck does specifically the best thing it could ever do against that one thing. I'm taking the max here and sort of running out of time to do anything with my white mana. Yeah, I'll counterspell literally anything that goes on the stack here. Gotta spend my mana. Gotta do something. A white source. Can we do it? Right, I mean, I'll take it. Cycle Timeless Dragon. Basic Plains. Basic Plains, clear this Prismatic Ending. Or clear the Aether Vial with the Prismatic Ending. They didn't put a Lord into play in combat, which is really interesting. So this could be Hexcatcher, which is also a Lord. Yeah, they would have done any of that pre-combat. So, one card left. I'm on a 3-turn clock. I have another removal spell, and I have a blocker in my hand. Stuff I could do here. Another white source off the top would be great. That gives me staff plus ending on a real creature. Didn't play a land or a spell. Stuff that could conceivably be in this deck that they wouldn't have played. Rename Nemesis, Hall Breacher, Force of Will. The counter spells, or they could have another Trickster. That one has Flash. I'm going to Brainstorm first. Jeez. Tough crowd here. And the Plow's good. I'll take it. I'm not mad about that. If I put back Narset, who is never going to be played this game, and Staff of the Storyteller, none of this is pretty. I could play around Daze by exiling Tideshaper, which is the same size as Merfolk Trickster, and yeah, might as well. I'm never not going to have an island, so might as well play around Daze where I can. I have Force of Will available pitching Standstill, which is close to a freebie. I didn't play anything in my end step, so it wasn't Trickster. Okay, I'm going to 6 here. Another turn pass with no spells. Weird, I don't like it. Guess I'm just passing with Plow up here. Trickster in the end step. Gonna Force of Will anything at all. Go after that. And I'm gonna Plow Trickster before they get another card in their hand. Cavern of Souls. Here comes the true name. We've just been sandbagging a Lord, sure. I'm gonna have to cycle Shark Typhoon for 0 here. The Narset on top of my deck doesn't help me. I have to get a card deeper. The card that I can see face up kills me. So it's not like I can pretend to block with Shark Typhoon. They have an unblockable 3/3 to my 2 life. I actually don't think I have any outs here. Okay. Alright, that was pretty awkward. We kept an all-in on Standstill hand, and they turned out to be Merfolk with a turn 1 Aether Vial. And then we bricked on white sources for several turns, and then they barely won a million turns later. I'm not actually worried about the Merfolk matchup. I have a lot of tools for it. I just need to know that's what I'm playing against before I keep a hand that's all in on Standstill and has no white mana. Kozilek's Return, Basic Mountain, all my Pyroblasts come in. Force of Will, probably not a card I really need. I have Supreme Verdict that can clean up a True Name Nemesis. Wasteland can kill a Mutavault or a Cavern if necessary. That's probably Force of Will's out, Narset out. Having one Dress Down in the deck would be nice to have extra outs to True Name Nemesis, which is a card I'm worried about. But here is my deck. Let's do it. There's the basic planes and 2 more planes, but this is not how we do this. I'm going to mulligan. Okay, I'll keep this one. I'm going to send, I think, Hall of Heliod away. I'd rather have these cantrips and play the game that way. Hall of Heliod's not a land that I want for a long time. It only helps cast Supreme Verdict once I find another white source anyway. Love to find a basic planes, get myself set up here. Basic planes achieved. Okay. Land go from my opponent. I love to see that. Planes and currency converter, get it in. Now I've got an engine. They are able to wasteland this tundra if they have wasteland. I feel like I'm doing enough at the moment, though. I'll land go again. Trickster? Or are we just on the turn 3 uncounterable true name? I'm gonna brainstorm here before they're representing Hull Breacher. Oh good, I missed on lands again. All good. Put back Wandering Emperor and Prismatic Ending. And I am gonna shove Standstill here. Currency Converter, if they flash in Merfolk Trickster or whatever, they have a 2-2. I have a steady stream of 2-2s. They have to break this Standstill, not me. And I can take my time getting there. I'm at 19 life. You don't have to be miles ahead on an empty board to play Standstill. You just have to be representing more than they have. And I currently am doing that. Wasteland's great for them, but whatever. 2 damage coming in. Prismatic Ending. Activate my converter now. Discard this Wandering Emperor who's 1,000 years away from being helpful. And then that'll stabilize the board next turn. I'll trade 4 life to draw 3 cards, basically at all times in my life, unless I'm at exactly 4. I'm through the brainstorm lock now. I am drawing wild. They should probably just shove True Name if they have it here. I'm not representing good interaction. They're losing on board starting next turn. Yep, there it is. Exactly the thing I said. I don't have Pyroblast available, but I do have Supreme Verdict next turn. Okay, now I do have Pyroblast available. That's nice. It's going to play a Plains and pass. True Name's going to get in for 3. I kind of hope they commit a Lord to the board, so Trickster beats my 2-2. There's 1. Do I want to take 7 to get the double Wrath? Do I want to put a Plow in? Oh, okay. They pre-combated this Lord to give Island Walk, and then they're scared to play to make their attack anyway. That's great for me. I'm going to use this end step to loot. Not going to make a 2-2 into my own Wrath. I could discard Wasteland at this point. It's full of removal, but more lands frequently good. Maybe Prismatic Ending, that's just the most awkward one, but that answers Aether Vial and things of that nature. I actually think I'm good on card advantage. Seems like a preposterous thing for BoshNRoll to say, but I'll just flip Brainstorm under there. And that should terrify my opponent. Okay, fetch my basic mountain, the Supreme Verdict. Get these jerks out of here. If they have a second True Name right now, I'm in trouble. Damn. Okay, so I have to race this opponent now. The only other thing I could have done there was try to use my removal to stay alive a little longer. And if I did that, I would have Pyroblast up for the second True Name. So I'm just racing now, which is not a good race, but it is what I have. I'm going to play Wasteland and cast Timeless Dragon as a 5/5. I can plow my own creatures to gain life if it comes to that. This Rishadan Dockhand is like fine, but not doing a whole lot. That's a Lord. So they thought about attacking with Dockhand. It went into play, then it left combat, then it went back again. Make another 2/2. Just racing now. Prismatic Ending awkwardly would require me. I've drawn both of my colorless lands. Super awkward situation here. I think ending the Lord is still the way to go. I have Plow and Red Blast available to tangle on their turn. If I get to attack with all creatures. Just here to bash. End step. They are casting Trickster. Interesting that didn't happen during combat, but okay. They've tapped my dragon after it doesn't matter anymore. Master of the Pearl Trident. I'll counter that. Going to combat now. I have to plow my dragon to be alive. For 5/6. Not happy about it. That's what we got. Still dead next turn. And Tide Shaper is going to take me off red, probably. Okay, take me off double weight. Makes some sense. Step, I'm going to loot that for the Storyteller. Absolutely unhelpful here. Ponder, okay. Counterspell Caracas, Volcanic Island. None of these are helpful. I need a plow to plow myself again. That's the out. And we're dead. Okay. Tough matchup in the first round here. Just buried by True Name Nemesis. I did have my answer. Maybe I should have been a turn more patient, use my plow, use my ending, clear out everything that's not True Name, get them to commit a second wave. Because I think without this True Name, this game's trivial, but obviously they have it, so there it is. GG. We played a 2006 deck into a 2006 deck, and the 2006 metagame held up. Let's go.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
I'm on the draw in round 2. I've once again drawn both colorless lands in my opening hand. This hand has access to staff and a bunch of removal. I'm going to keep. Without knowing the matchup, you can't just mulligan functional hands like this. Okay, looks like opponent's playing a Chalice of the Void. Sure. What else you got? Chalice on 0. Alright. Anyone who's willing to Chalice on 0 in the blind, this wouldn't be 8 cast. Is it like Eldrazi Stompy? Like, what year is it? What are we doing? I'm gonna Wasteland. Like, I can't do anything next turn anyway. And sometimes knocking the Soul Land out from underneath these Stompy decks just collapses everything they do. A Swamp. Okay. I know that Swamp's not casting Dark Ritual. I'll get my Flooded Strand out first. And I should probably fetch Plains before they can Soul Land Opposition Agent. Urborg. Now I have a choice to make. I can just shove Staff of the Storyteller, or I could invest in removing Chalice of the Void. Drawing Force of Will makes it a much cleaner choice. I want to get my engine online before I start reacting to what they're doing. Okay, 4 mana achieved, and they've still not done anything with it. Slightly concerning. Timeless Dragon. I like you. I'm going to play Hall of Heliod, and I'll attack for 1 with my Spirit. I do have to respect the possibility of Oppo here. They could cast it if they have it. I would respond by cycling my dragon. Just nothing in my end step. Cool. This is an excellent game for Staff of the Storyteller. In the end step, I'm going to draw a card with Staff, and I drew a land. Do I want to spend any effort on Opposition Agent right now? Like, I could cycle Timeless Dragon. I did just draw a land. If I cycle Timeless Dragon, though, that'll be in my graveyard and be a good 4-mana play. I could also use this turn to clear Prismatic. Yeah, I'm going to use this turn to clear Chalice with Prismatic Ending. I'll attack first. When it's at 16, and then Prismatic Ending. The mana value is 2. The Converge is 1. It needs to be 0, so we're all good here. And we're out of the oppressive squeeze of Chalice. It did basically nothing to me this game. That is one of the strengths of this deck. It's pretty good about playing through Chalice. Opponent has still not cast a spell or done anything in several turns. I'm going to try to brainstorm here. They're going to fart around forever. I'm going to start casting spells. I don't need Volcanic Island in this matchup. They gave me Urborg, so I already have Prismatic Ending for 3. Guess Volk can give me Prismatic Ending for 4. Be cool. And I'll put Timeless Dragon on top. And I'm probably just going to cast it next turn. Or I can start doing Shark Typhoon stuff. Yeah, I think I'm just going to pass. I have Hardcast Force and Pitchcast Force available against an opponent who hasn't done anything. And if neither of those things pan out, I can just make a Shark and draw a card, and then also draw a card. I am pretty concerned though. Like, what the hell is going on over there? You have 7 cards in your hand and 4 mana. What is your deck? What are we doing? Okay, I will crack my fetch land and see if we've been playing around opposition agent correctly this whole time. Doesn't seem like it. Are you going to be a wasteland deck? Also doesn't seem like it. I'll grab a Tundra. And I got 1 fetch out of the way. That's enough for me. Then I can use Urborg. I'm going to make a 2/2 Shark, leave up Swords to Plowshares, and Staff of the Storyteller activation. We'll tell my story here. With Double Force, I just want to make sure I have blue cards to use. Standstill, what's up? I like that. Deck for 3. Second main. Standstill. Off you go. Okay. Weird game. Okay, we're playing against a deck that has Chalice of the Void, Soul Lands, Basic Swamp, and then doesn't do anything with 4 mana and 7 cards in their hand. Is this Curses? Curses fits all of those bills. A lot of the curses cost 5, and that makes sense if they were failing to operate on 4. Wear Tear kills the curses. It also takes out Leyline, it takes out Chalice. Just Wear Tear's great here, no questions about it. Do I think they're going to have Dothy Voidwalkers and opposition agents and stuff? Probably. Don't expect this deck to draw a lot of cards. Maybe Narset's questionable, but Narset is a great thing to draw and dig with under Chalice. Help find answers to the Chalice. She's still pretty clunky, though. Maybe I cut 1 Swords to Plowshares, 1 Narset for the 2 Wear Tears. I do want to respect creatures, at least a little bit. Supreme Verdict is blue for Force of Will while respecting a wide board. Yeah, I guess this is just what I'm doing here. Okay, this is a hand that is bad against Chalice until I draw my second land, at which point it's great against Chalice. I'm going to try this. Swamp. Oh no, we're getting oppoed. Oh, we're getting 3-balled. That's even worse. No, it's not. At least I can make land drops and do stuff under Trinisphere. Oppo would just... I'm not even counting to anything here. Alright. Gotta hit land drops. Opponent is representing opposition agent. There it is. Gonna fetch for a Tundra. Okay, deck. Runner here. Just put me right back in it. Tilt. Well, I'm not going to concede yet. I'll discard Standstill, and then my second land can start cycling Shark Typhoons. That's a thing I can do under Trinisphere. Basically anything you can do under Standstill, you can also do under Trinisphere. So we'll see what their follow-up is here. We're also just learning about their deck. Leyline of the Void, sure. That I don't really care about. Another land. I guess I'm discarding Narset now. Dr. Oppo continuing to operate. I guess I have to draw I have to run a runner actual mana producing lands. Not even fetch lands. They do have a pretty good squeeze. The start was great. Game Spirit. Okay. I'm good now. Yeah, that was you play around one thing, you get got by the other. But honestly, not drawing a land for 5 turns would have lost to Chalice too. So you got me. Now I get to be on the play where I can ponder before I do anything else. I do only have the 4 Force of Wills in my deck. We've now seen confirmed Oppo, confirmed Leyline of the Void, assume Helm is in this deck too, assume Dothy Voidwalker's in the deck. All these things are probably true. Kozilek's Return can clear a whole board of nonsense. It kills a lot of my creatures too, though. That's probably okay. Oh, if they're a Leyline deck, Currency Converter is kind of risky because Currency Converter works by exiling the card from your graveyard that you just discarded, and if it's already gone, then you're out of luck. I could also bring in Mountain, knowing that they're a Trinisphere deck just to increase my land count. If I did that, I would probably be cutting another Narset, or I could cut the other Converter. Yeah, so I'm cutting 2 things that are bad against Chalice and bad against Leyline to go up a land and up an answer to creatures. I think that's reasonable. Let's do it that way. going back to the deck tech, I am extremely happy to have access to stuff with the Storyteller in this matchup. But that's because I want more standstills, not more currency converters. So everything I said is holding up here. This hand doesn't have Force of Will, but I'm not going to mulligan for Force of Will. I have land drops to get ahead of Sphere. I am going to fetch now before Opposition Agent is a concern. And I will fetch Volcanic Island to cast Ponder with. If I find Force here, I'm worried about nothing. Prismatic Ending's pretty good too. Okay, I'm going to pop a Prismatic Ending in my hand with Counterspell under it. And now we figure out what it is. Oh god. We're going to discard. Did they pivot into Reanimator? Is that what's going on here? Curse of Misfortunes. And that discard was certainly unfortunate. Don't know what just happened. Is there a Reanimator spell for enchantments? Whatever just happened, it gave me a turn to hold up Counterspell. Oh, I wonder if they misclicked their keep. I mean, that's the only thing that really makes any sense. I don't know what just happened, but we won the match, so scoreboard. On to the next one.
The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting Commander events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 4-player Swiss-structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no downloads required. You can get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe.
Round number 3 on the play. I'm going to keep this turn to Standstill, and I'm going to lead on Tundra. This opens me up to Wasteland, but my hand's not really worried about Wasteland. But if they play a creature turn 1, I can interact with it and then jam Standstill on my turn. And I'm just going for it here. They're doing something in response. What do we got? Basic Island, white border. Oh god, this is going to be Mono Blue Delver. Who plays white border, basic islands, and Legacy, and Spell Pierce? Misty Rainforest Pass is their next play. I'll play Staff of the Storyteller around Days. It's not around Spell Pierce, but I'm not gonna not play my spell for that reason. Brainstorm in response. This could be a combo deck. Sneak and Show. And a lot of respect for this. Force pitching Force, and I can answer their first Murktide Regent, but my hand's not doing a lot right now. And they didn't shuffle their Brainstorm. They like what they have on top. Oh, a Swamp. What are we doing here? Thoughtseize. Okay. Enjoy this hand. I can no longer answer Murktide Regent. Yeah, they countered 2 different engines, and now my hand looks real bad. Maybe Standstill off the top. Oh. Now we are at the whim of whatever my opponent wants to do. I've never seen Spell Pierce in Doomsday. I've never seen... I don't know what's happening right now. I've never seen Prismatic Vista in Storm. We're going to find out. They have 4 mana. Kaito Dancing Shadow. Oh my god. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return one of them to its owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyal abilities of Kaito twice this turn. One target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. Draw a card. Make a 2/2 drone. With when this leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. Okay. So 0 draw a card is some shit. But they made a drone instead. Okay. Is this just ninjas? And they had a really weird wonky start? You know what doesn't count as casting a spell? Ninjutsu. Oh my god. I needed to stand still last turn like air and water, and I needed it this turn like a hole into my head. Now they can 0 Kaito and draw cards and just live their best life. I'm taking 2 from this thing. They can do the Kaito thing to draw another card and drain me for 2, but then they're down a creature. Doesn't seem that great. Sorin the Mirthless. Okay, we're just Dimir Planeswalkers. Alright. Okay. You know what? Honestly, if I draw a Shark Typhoon, I might still play Standstill. I'm about that life. Let's go. I can't answer another Planeswalker right now, and I'm already behind on board. So just playing to a Shark Typhoon or a Timeless Dragon seems fine to me. This could be a Ichor Moon Gauntlet deck. That is, that's live. They picked up Polluted Delta for free with Soren's Plus. And now I have to draw a Shark Typhoon or a Timeless Dragon. Static ending, good stuff. And I'm behind, and there's a good chance I die without ever doing anything, and this standstill's still in play. But I think having it in play is better than not having it in play here. Just let my deck do what it does. Because if I don't give my deck a chance to do what it does, then I'm just not doing anything. Plus Kaito, minus Soren, +1 creature. They're cracking a fetch land. Mystic Sanctuary, pick up Force of Will probably, just make sure nothing can go wrong here. Well, as I've said, I don't plan on casting any more spells this game. Dark Typhoon, All of Heliod, okay. Not a good one, but I will play it. And now it's too late. Now even Shark Typhoon doesn't help me. I need them to mess up somehow. Like freak out and pop my standstill. Don't know what would have to happen in the human brain for them to cast standstill here. Oh god. When this creature leaves the battlefield. Oh, I can't even draw Supreme Verdict because these drones will kill me. Yeah, I'm dead. Yeah, we're good. There is nothing to be drawn here. They have 2 things that if they leave the battlefield, drain me for 2. Alright, that was a weird game. We are Dimir Planeswalkers with Thoughtseize and Force of Will. Pyroblast seems relevant. I should expect... they're probably not going to back to basics me. I think they have it in their deck based on the mana base we saw, but I don't know that they're going to use it. I think Pyroblast is the only thing I want, and then Swords of Plowshares seems kind of medium. Maybe Supreme Verdict is bad too. I think I do want Force of Wills, even though they showed me Spell Pierce. Yeah, I'm going to cut Supreme Verdict. Okay. I kept a hand with 2 engines and a removal spell. They countered both engines and they didn't care about the removal spell, and then we lost. That makes perfect sense. I will keep this hand with 2 engines and 2 cantrips and kick it off with Ponder. I like the idea of hiding Counterspell and Narset from them. If I draw Flooded Strand now, if they Thoughtseize me, I get to play an engine either way without shuffling. And then I'm drawing Counterspell off the top next turn, and Narset's under that, and I get all of them without shuffling. I am more worried about Spell Pierce than I am about Thoughtseize. Because they've shown me Spell Pierce before, and we lost to it, I'm going to hold up Counterspell instead. If I have to lose my Narset to counter something important this turn, it's fine. We'll live with that. But in the meantime, I will just play around Spell Pierce. Ponder. Dark Typhoon, happy to see that. I'm not currently holding up Counterspell, unfortunately. Plateau. That comes with the territory, putting that card in your deck. I want to draw another land. I think so. I could play Standstill now or Staff now. I can pay for Spell Pierce or counter back onto something. I think Standstill has the best upside here. I'm going to start there. Force of Will. Pitching back to basics. Okay, they did have back to basics. I'm going to let this resolve, actually, because if I counter back, they have Spell Pierce up. And then we're going into their turn where my shields are down. But if they play some 4-mana Planeswalker right now, I can counterspell it without getting pierced. Now we know that they both have back to basics and it's in their deck right now. Okay, just proactive fetch land passed into me. I am going to draw this Wasteland. I don't think this is going to get many targets in the matchup, and the fact that they gave me one is pretty exciting. Loading a black, we'll just move through phases here, get rid of that. And now I can cycle Shark Typhoon on their turn, so I just don't have to do anything. Now I'm holding up Counterspell, and I can pay for Spell Pierce if they make a play on their turn. If they do nothing, I cycle Shark Typhoon. Underground Sea, they had to get that one if they want black, because Misty Rainforest doesn't fetch basics, or basic swamps. Ethereal Forager. This exiled Force of Will and back to basics, so this can get back Force of Will. Do I even care about this? Not really. Yeah, that resolves. Because I can make a 2/2 now, and then I'll make a 1/1 on my turn, and I can double block this thing and go up a bunch of cards. I will fetch basic planes. My deck's good against back to basics. Don't get caught by it. 2-2 and 3-3. I think I would rather play this Staff of the Storyteller, though. I'm holding up Counterspell and Staff Activation. If they want to attack and lose their whale, they're basically catching their whale in for a Force of Will, which is actually fine if they resolve some busted Planeswalker out of the deal. Attack, you get your Force. Double block. I don't think I counter a removal spell here. Like, I don't care about whale. Alright, wait. They did, in fact, spend all those cards to put Force of Will in their hand, which I'm mostly fine with. And I think I want to fetch basic island here. I just walked into Opposition Agent. God damn. Come on, man. You should know better. That's so fucking annoying. Alright, well, I could have played around that 100 different ways and just didn't. I deserve that. And they took an island, probably. Yeah, they took an island. Alright, well, that's annoying. And I deserve it completely. And now I can't cycle Timeless Dragon either. I guess I'll just pass. I don't know if they fixed the Moto bug where you can't see your opponent's hand when you oppo. You're supposed to be able to. So I don't know if they know what I have here. I'm going to take 3 from the agent and leave up Counterspell right now. Don't have double black. Do have Kaito. The drone has Death Touch. I think I'm going to let them have this and try to tangle with Shark Typhoon. Just knowing they have Force Will in their hand. Oh, that oppo is so embarrassing. Okay, the good news is they minused, and I am going to make a 2-2. I could have made a 1-1 and draw a card, draw an extra card right now. But I think the 2-2 tangling with oppo matters enough. Okay, now I can attack Kaito. A problem is solved. Then I can Swords to Plowshares oppo, see if they want to fight over that, and then make further decisions. Start there. Knowing if I have fetch lands or not this turn matters a lot to me. Of course, pitching Forager. Does this matter to me? I could brainstorm in response and decide if I care about this, but Counterspell is my answer to it. I could also draw a card with Staff, see what it is. Okay, I think I'm going to do that. Draw with Staff in response. Force of Will, okay. That gives me some breathing room on some stuff. I will counter the Force now. Clearly oppo. Okay. Now I'm worried about Spell Pierces on my Force. Force pitching. I think Narset's the worst card in my hand. Get another Force. Okay. We're going to have to beat this Kaito now. They want to keep pooping drones, or they're freezing my Shark. That makes some sense. You have to watch out for these drones. They will eventually defeat me. Okay. Red Blast just kills Kaito. Let's do that. Get out of here. No questions about it. And I guess I should brainstorm. Lands delivered. I'm going to put back Flooded Strand, Timeless Dragon. Or Timeless Dragon, Flooded Strand. I think Timeless Dragon, Flooded Strand go back in that order. Let's play my basic. I can make a 1-1 Shark who will charge the Staff. 2-2 Shark can answer the drone. Baleful Strix, okay. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on these Kaitos. Deal. Block. End step. I'm something of a Baleful Strix myself. Make a 1-1. Charge the Staff. Draw a card later. All the cards I put on top of my deck are now here. I could cast Timeless Dragon and have white still up. I have Plow in hand, so I'm going to fetch now. If they want to go in on oppo, I'll punish it. Do that. Cool. It will get a Tundra. Play Timeless Dragon in 5/5 mode, representing Pyroblast and Swords to Plowshares. Oh, you have Counterspell. I apologize. I didn't respect the game. That's okay. It's still in the graveyard. There'll still be a big creature next turn. Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, go ahead. Take my Shark Typhoon. They're down to 1 card in hand. Staff's about to redraw for me. Do I want to play around Hull Breacher? Do I think that's a card they're going to have? I'm going to hope not. I could have just gone to my turn and played around Hull Breacher. Okay, cool. They just don't want to play the game anymore. Neat. Okay, the Kaito deck, Kaito Control, with Back to Basics, that they might board out now that they've seen how many basics I play. They've seen my whole deck with Oppo. Helpful Strix and Opposition Agent are things that die to Kozilek's return. The drones all die to Kozilek's return as well. All right. And I did get lower on plows that game. Maybe on the draw I shave a standstill. That's just such a bad draw if I'm behind. Opposition Agent being in this deck is pretty annoying. I don't want all my Swords of Plowshares in if they're on the Planeswalker side of things, but Opposition Agent is a card that kills me. But I can tangle with it in combat. Let's go. 2 plows. Plenty. Here I am with Standstill and Shark Typhoon in my hand. Living the life I want to live. And they pondered on turn 1. Did not shuffle. I'm going to fetch for an island before Opposition Agent is live. And then just pass. I am once again in a spot where I have 2 engines in my hand against the Spell Pierce strategy. I think this game I gotta shove Standstill unless I draw something really exciting. Oh. Well, Force of Will can fight over my engines. I probably should have fetched here before they can have Oppo. Standstill is worth 2 cards to resolve, but also Force of Will being in my hand against this deck is pretty cool. I'm gonna go for a staff, and I'm not gonna fight back if they force it or counter it. Ooh, black was the fetch. That's interesting. Spell Pierce. Why would they fetch black and then Spell Pierce me? Maybe I do counter this. Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm in. I'm gonna force this and pitch Standstill. The Typhoon gives me an extra round of card draw that'll replace the force, and then they force pitching Baleful Strix. Okay. Decided they did not want that in play bad enough. I think if they just don't fetch in response to the spell, or if they fetch a blue source, I don't force back there because they're showing a second Pierce, but they gave me a window. Cool. Swords of Plowshares eats Opposition Agent, if necessary. But if they do have Oppo, they need to hit land drop number 4. Now I can fetch without getting Oppo'd. And I am just going to get another island while I can. I will not lose to a Back to Basics, I promise you that. Uh-oh, is it Kaito time? It is Kaito time. I just used my force, but they forced back, so they would have had a force all the same. Are they going to make a drone and lose Kaito immediately again? No, just drawing cards. They figured out how to do this. I'm in danger. Kaito just zeroing to draw cards is a highly effective strategy against the Standstill deck. Brainstorm. I'm looking for a Pyroblast before it's too late. My hand kind of sucks, so I'm okay brainstorming first. Normally I would ponder first. Oh, okay, interesting. If I put back Wasteland and Plow, I could go Currency Converter Standstill right now, and then just see what that game looks like. I'm going to attack Kaito first. Attack Kaito, Currency Converter, and then I'm going to fetch Volcanic Island. Any double whites. Timeless Dragon's double white, but it can fetch white if I find it. I'm going to get Volcanic Island and play Standstill. I believe I beat Kaito heads up with my board, so I can stick Standstill. If they minus to make a drone, Kaito is deleted. If they spend too much time plussing Kaito on my Shark, Currency Converter will take over. Alright, yeah, they're just casting Baleful Strix, letting me have 3 cards immediately. This is the way. Brainstorm. They're seeing a lot of cards this turn as well. Don't even mind getting Thoughtseized here, because that gives me a 2-2 right away. And my hand is pretty redundant. Currency Converter does not care how cards end up in your graveyard, which makes it great against discard strategies. I'm going to Brainstorm. Don't need a second Converter, and this land is kind of a lot right now. A fetch for a Tundra. and cast Ponder. Another counterspell, another Ponder, and a land. I could stick Narset right now. She's pretty good against Kaito's 0. Do have the Timeless Dragon Explosion combo here, though. I will put land in my hand and then shove Narset. I'm a mana short of doing the Timeless Dragon Explosion combo and casting Counterspell. So I'll just put Narset into play against this Planeswalker that draws cards. Shark Typhoon into my hand, let's go. You're on notice, opponent. I'm up to some weird stuff. They didn't use their Prismatic Vista, so they like whatever they kept with Brainstorm. Freezing my Shark again. So they get a point through on Narset. It's cool. She's fine just being in play, turning off cantrips. Ethereal Forager, exiling what? Ponder, Force, Spell, Pierce, Brainstorm. That's a pretty big Forager. Prismatic Ending doesn't hit this. Pyroblast does. Shark is also bigger than this thing. Do I want to give them a Spell Pierce? I don't care about Brainstorm or Ponder. This is fine. I'm not spending a force on this. Wasteland plays her on Opposition Agent. No questions asked. Do I think that's a card they have? Do I care if they do? All of these are very viable questions to ask. I'm holding up Counterspell, so yeah, I'll just fetch a basic Plains here. And I'll pass the turn with what I've got. They've seen the Shark Typhoon, so if they make a move here, I should expect that they have a plan. Or they're just trying to put Force of Will back in their hand with Forager. Bouncing Baleful Strix with Kaito's static ability is pretty fucked up. Get to attack, bounce Strix, activate Kaito again, replay Strix. It's cool stuff. Ethereal Forager is putting what back into the hand? Force of Will, okay. Mostly what I expected. We'll make the biggest possible 4/4 Shark. I know they have Force of Will, so if they have a removal spell for my Shark, probably going to work. Petty Theft. I can force this and hope this is the last blue card in their hand. I think this is worth making a move on. They can't hardcast Force right now. It'll cost both of us 2 cards to make this exchange. Force pitching Brainstorm. Okay. So they get to clear my Narset this turn. I get to resolve a dragon this turn. And Currency Converter makes a friend. Uh-oh. Got another play. The last card in their hand is a real card. Mystic Sanctuary, targeting Force of Will. Okay. Force of Will's on top of their deck. End step, make a 2/2. Standstill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they can freeze my Timeless Dragon. Kaito. That's really good. Attack Kaito with my Rogue. Force of Will on top of the deck. So my spells are not getting better. I could cycle Timeless Dragon, get the land 2 bodies. Bodies are not bigger than Ethereal Forager, and then they'll have Kaito in play versus the stable board, where Kaito does actually beat me. If I find, I guess I'll have Currency Converter going. Okay, I'm gonna Plane Cycle. Oh wait, I can't. No, I can't Plane Cycle it and play Standstill. I'd have to Eternalize it next turn. Oh, this sucks. Kaito's freeze mode is pretty effective here. But if they're attacking and getting back Brainstorms and shit, they're going to pull ahead here anyway. Okay, I'm going for it. Timeless Dragon and Standstill right now. Currency Converter can still loot. We'll probably drop Raisin Borrower now, but if they're freezing my dragon, then Shark type token can trade with that. The 4 mana Planeswalkers, when they resolve in Legacy, are pretty serious. Freezing my dragon, no surprise there. They're attacking with Brazen Borrower. I will trade with that. Strix is getting into. That makes sense. Does that make sense? That means I can attack Kaito with Rogue, where I wouldn't have had that attack otherwise. Unless they're going to bounce Strix, ignore Standstill, and just go off here. They just put Ponder in their hand. Gonna block Brazen Borrower for sure. You like to put these cards in your hand. It did pick up the Strix. Okay. If we're just playing into Standstill, I'm cool with that. Zeroed Kaito to draw a card. And off we go. 3 fresh ones. Timeless Dragon, Prismatic Ending. You know they have Ponder in hand. Some other stuff. Another Strix. My deck is full of Pyroblasts. All 3 are still in there somewhere. Hint, hint deck. Oh, they have another whale. Okay. This one just has Ponder under it. Okay. Wild stuff going on here. The second currency converter. Not what I'm really in the market for. I'm not really in the market for a land either. So I could loot first with converter. I could loot one converter into the other converter. That's a thing that can happen. I'm going to play Wasteland and use that to cast currency converter. Then I'm going to loot with one of them. Prismatic Ending. I'm just going to put Timeless Dragon in the graveyard. Sure, I'm exiling to the correct currency converter. And I can make a 2/2 and make a 4/4. Okay, this is dubious, tenuous. Don't love my spot. Kaito, the static ability does say if you bounce a creature, you may activate Kaito's abilities twice. It doesn't say an additional time. So they can't like pick up 3 Baleful Strix and activate Kaito 4 times in a turn. Yeah, okay. Yep. That is how that card works. Freezing the largest dragon. 3 cards still in their hand. We know one of them's Force of Will. Whales are attacking. Putting Brainstorm and Ponder back in their hands. I'm going to block the one that still has a spell under it. Not that Spell Pierce is high impact at this point, but it's literally not nothing, which the other one is. Fully expect them to return a Strix now. They committed to this line last turn. Plussing Kaito on my other dragon makes sense. It protects Kaito. I'm running out of both time and life points here. Strix is back. Brainstorm. Yeah, this Kaito has just gone absolutely coast to coast with no answers in sight for it. 33 cards into my deck. No looks at a Pyroblast yet. They just took my Prismatic Ending, which goes under a currency converter. At least that wasn't nothing. For my turn, counterspell, Prismatic Ending, one of these Strixes. And activate currency converter. Probably should have done this in a better order. Discard Flooded Strand, that's not going to help me here. Attack Kaito with my rogues. Kaito's down to 2. Swords to Plowshares, your whale right now. You know you have Force. I can play around Spell Pierce by making a Treasure with Currency Converter. So there might be some gas here. We're switching Brainstorm. Counterspell that. Force again. Force pitching Ponder, Force pitching Brainstorm. Okay, so I am very close to dead here. You can put me to 2 on board right now. Big Dragon can't block. What the shit? I don't know what this does, but it resolves. Make a 2/3 Nightmare. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Yeah, okay, that'll do. Okay, yep. Dimir Planeswalkers outmuscled me. 35 cards in the deck, plus whatever my cantrips have seen. No sign of a Pyroblast anywhere, but it's all good. GG, cool deck. Yeah, this Kaito, untouchable, just resolved, and then carried the whole game. That was pretty cool. And I ended up just a little bit behind. On to the next one. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play in round 4 with the nut draw. I'm going to keep. And I'm starting to have a thought that I was thinking about the construction of this deck wrong. And I think I was on the right scent with how I ranked Staff of the Storyteller. But I think I missed an important piece of the puzzle, which is if Staff of the Storyteller is Standstill, not Shark Typhoon, and Standstill is frequently a bad draw, but all the things that work under Standstill also fuel Staff of the Storyteller, why am I not playing Staff in that slot? And by that slot, I mean the Standstill slot. Like, if I just go back to Teferi and Wandering Emperor and remove all of my Standstills and play 4 Staffs, I think that deck is better than the one I'm currently playing. That will be explored later in the rebuild. In the meantime, we'll just die to this Goblin Rabble Master. It looks like they have an initiative creature. Yep. They got me with the attack. I guess I could have waited and not blocked. Anyway, look at me enjoying my nut draw against a deck with a better nut draw. I'm going to concede here. We are already dead. Even if I draw the Supreme Verdict next turn and survive at 2 life or whatever, they still have the initiative and the trap will kill me. Okay. My Blue Blast come in. My Wear Tears come in. I think that's all I really got from the matchup. Or Kozilek's Return is actually reasonable here. I don't need Basic Mountain. They're likely to turn all my lands into mountains anyway, so I got 5 slots here. Standstill is good if I'm stable. Narset does very little. And here we go. Like, this is exactly what I was just talking about, where Standstill's a liability, but I would play basically any number of Staff of the Storyteller in the matchup. Yeah, I think the answer we're looking for is that the Standstill deck, the card in it that needs to be replaced is Standstill, not any of the other engine pieces. And that's an awkward place to be. Okay, I am not losing to a Blood Moon here. My removal's not great. White is a ways away. I guess I'm still keeping the hand, though. Not losing to a Moon or to a Chalice is a good start. Either way. Hydroblast and a Basic Plains. Access to a Basic Plains. I guess I already have access to a Basic Plains. I'm going to put Hydroblast on top. Kind of wish I put the Standstill second down, because if they have turn 1 Chalice, I'm happy to Standstill into that. Great. Punished exactly for the thing that I did not give enough respect to. Now I'm drawing Flooded Strand instead of Standstill, which would have been a great draw. I am set up to Supreme Verdict when we get there, but I have to find a Wear Tear in the meantime, or a Prismatic Ending, or just die to the initiative. Well, Goblin Pal is in play. Fetch a Basic Plains, and then cycle also for a Basic Plains. Land too late for that to be useful. Yeah, I can make a 4/4 next turn, doing nothing in the meantime. Yeah, if I just put Standstill on top of my deck, I would have drawn 3 cards at least. We'd be looking at the same board, but I'd be 3 cards deeper in my deck. And of course, there's that. This card kills me. If I can bring back Timeless Dragon this turn, take the initiative next turn, and then Supreme Verdict, that is a path to something resembling victory. They can just put forged counters on their Goblin if they want to make every creature as deadly as possible. They're forging onto Chaos Adventurer, they just want to make sure that thing stays alive. 4 cards in hand, plus they get a flip here. Just don't kill Dragon. Flip City of Traders. That one's no good. End of the Bugbear sucks ass. Oh my god. No, I have Wasteland. Get wrecked. The one of Wasteland. And I drew Force of Will. You're saying there's a chance. Back with my Timeless Dragon. Take the initiative. My god. Is this going to thread the needle perfectly with the one of Wasteland? Get this island. I cast Supreme Verdict. Kills all the creatures. And Wasteland, I could wait until they fire up the Den of the Bugbear. Or I could just take it now so they can't tap it for mana. I'll just wait. Agent War Boss. Force of Will, pitching Brainstorm. Cool. Unpunished by not Wastelanding. Maybe that was greedy. Lost Well. There is a Wear Tear and a Shark Typhoon. Draw for my turn. I'll deploy the Staff of the Storyteller. A blocker. And now I actually want my Wasteland up because I need the mana. They don't have an enchantment currently. Fiery Confluence, destroy target artifact, deal 2 damage to each opponent, and deal 1 to each creature. So this will completely clear the board. I don't actually need to destroy an enchantment because I don't have any of those. I can still wear. Okay, that was pretty clean. In the end step, I will destroy the Chalice. Alright, we're cooking. I have a removal spell up. I'm going to go into the stash. Start with a Ponder. I would like to get something going here. Kozilek's Return, real good. Okay, I'm putting Kozilek's Return on top of my deck and drawing that. Then I'm going to pass the turn. I can make a big shark if I need to do that. Den of the Bugbear can get swept up into Kozilek's Return with everything else. Fury. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. My shark is a 4/4. I do play removal spells. I'm gonna let you have Fury. I can kill it the same as I could counter it, so I'm not really losing anything here. End step cycle. I'm going all the way in, using the treasure and everything, the biggest possible. Spooky Skeleton. That can buy me a turn to operate against Fury if I don't ponder into an answer now. All of Heliod. That's really good. It does put me all in on looping Shark Typhoon. Versus, I mean, but at least it's something. I don't like that there's 2 lands under it, but there's not 2 lands under it. There's a Shark Typhoon under it. Okay. I'm going to draw and play Hall of Heliod. And I'm not going to attack. I can lock Fury with my Shark. I'm about to enter Throne of the Dead 3, so those cards aren't on top of my deck anyway. Another Bugbear. I'm going to Wasteland this in the beginning of combat, not now. That way they can't use their mana to cast a different haste creature. You attack, I block. Trade 1 for 1 here. Well, 2 for 1, my shark replaced itself. And I'm going to go into the Throne of the Dead 3 anyway. My deck has no creatures in it. Or there's 2 Timeless Dragons. Alright. I'm not going to put Shark Typhoon on top of my deck because it'll be gone anyway. Let's hit one of those Timeless Dragons. Nope, just a bunch of cards to the bottom. That's how that works. Then play this Tundra. And their Den of the Bugbear. I'm going to Kozilek's Return that anyway, so I might as well attack. It represents 2 attackers. Did I have to shuffle again next turn? I'm never going to get to make a Shark Typhoon. Den of the Bugbear. This is red, right? I'm still going to kill it rather than Hydroblast. I'd rather kill it with damage because they have spells that I do need to counter. There is only 1 Shark Typhoon in my graveyard, so I venture into the Undercity in an island. I could put Shark Typhoon on top now. I think that's where I want to be. They know I have a Shark Typhoon. I'm still in the initiative. I'm at 6, and we've seen at least 1 Fiery Confluence. Don't care about that. End step, make a 3/3. Down Standstill, now we're cooking. I'm going to Lost Well. Okay, top. And if I go 1, 2, 3, I can 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I could play Standstill and still Blue Blast twice this turn if I need to. And I can cycle Shark Typhoon if I don't need to do any of that other stuff. Opponent is at 3, dead to my Shark. I can only tap 1 of these Ancient Tombs. I got 2 counter spells available. Soken's on. That's fucking sick. Okay. This actually does kill me if I don't do something. So I'm gonna have to make a 1/1 Shark. Oh wow, I'm just dead? I'm just dead? I did all this and I'm dead? Soken's on is exactly lethal because they go into trap. And these aren't red. I can't kill them. Oh my god. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to shuffle, make a 1/1, and then draw something relevant. Wow, that was a card that you had. Okay, I'll get a Tundra. There are 4 Swords of Plowshares in my deck, and some number of Shark Typhoons. I don't have mana to return the Shark Typhoon I already have. I will maximize here for playable cards. Come on, deck. Swords of Plowshares. Oh my god, we're dead for Xaxes. What a nightmare. Wow. Alright, well, they found the line. If I were thinking about Sokenzan, I would have just not attacked, made a shark, leave the shark back because it's the same lethal attack next turn, and make the other shark. Yeah, I mean, they threaded the needle beautifully there. I don't know if they were waiting for Sokenzan to be the hit they needed, or if that was off the top. Like any other haste creature, I draw 3 cards and I can counter it. Being non-red mattered in their mono-red deck. That was the perfect card at the perfect life total. But I could have played around it. There was... My attack's also lethal next turn if I just wait, make sure no haste creature gets me. That was winnable, even if they did draw the perfect card. Okay, final round's coming. That's how that went. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. Final round is on us. Once again, I have my nut curve. Once again, I can't wait to die on turn 0 to Reanimator. And let's see if this works. 1 time out of 5. And the fact that we have had such a rough run in this league, while the deck actually has functioned in the way it's supposed to in most of the games, is evidence that this deck is not built optimally. Oh, are we getting Chaliced? Okay, there is a Chalice. And I do get to curve Standstill into, or Currency Converter into Standstill here. We might still just die next turn, depending on what they do next. I'm going to fetch a basic Plains for this Standstill rather than play the Tundra. It would just be so embarrassing to die to Blood Moon right now. I need this Standstill to dig for answers to Chalice. This Cavern makes me think they are not red. Elemental. Okay. Oh, wow. They didn't float with City. That's good news for me. What deck plays City of Traders, Chalice of the Void, Cavern on Elemental, nothing for 3 mana, go? What is happening? Okay, I'm just going to make my land drop and pass. Currency Converter and Standstill doing their thing now. My opponent didn't do anything last turn. I can't imagine they'll do anything this turn. Elemental, what the hell? What's going on here? Okay, and they just conceded. I'm confused and concerned. Oh, they just packed the whole match. Okay, they're hiding their secret technology. They don't want this on camera. Okay, we didn't get a real match out of that. Fury, Solitude, of course, are elementals. Omnath as elementals. Those cards would not be in City of Traders Chalice deck necessarily. I mean, Solitude and Fury could be pitch cards in a Pompey deck. That's common, but why would you Cavern it when it's your only mana source? Clearly they agree, though. That could have been like a, I messed up and this game is going to go poorly. I'll just name a random thing and then concede the match. I don't know. Well, okay. Oh, it is technically a win on the board, but an unsatisfying end. And I think we have stumbled across the real answer here, which is that Standstill is just not a great Magic card in the present day Legacy. We saw it get completely disrespected by Aethervial, by Sokenzan, by simply drawing it off the top when we were behind and couldn't cast it. We didn't play against any Urza Sagas this league, but that's a problem too. What if we just go back to my starting list before I cut other things, but straight up replace Standstill with Staff of the Storyteller? I mostly went through these slots already at the start of round 4, but I pointed out that Staff of the Storyteller does not function under Standstill. It pays out the same things that Standstill pays out, but doesn't do stuff under Standstill. And it's additional copies of Standstill, not additional copies of Shark Typhoon. And how about we just replace Standstill? Now, instead of this conditional draw 3, we get a mostly unconditional draw 1, followed by upside if they don't remove it, and we clear a removal spell if they do remove it. and we open up deck slots to reactive cards like Teferi and Wandering Emperor. This makes Currency Converter a little worse because curving into Standstill is specifically the purpose of that card, but it is still a source of tokens that combos with Shark Typhoon and Timeless Dragon and its card selection. With all these stabs in the deck, we might just go to discard the old-fashioned way and feed the Currency Converter, which then feeds the staff again. Yeah, I mean, it's not looking good for Standstill as an archetype, but I do think that this deck is already better built now that we have an engine that we're not afraid to shove onto a board when we're behind. And in fact, we're happy to shove onto a board when we're behind. This does affect the blue count for Force of Will. We're down 4 blue cards, but still more than a third of the deck is blue. I think we're okay there. This is an exciting innovation for blue-white X control. It is a deadly innovation for Standstill, Sharkstill. Are we just Shark Staff now? Story Typhoon? Is that the new name of the deck? It's not Sharkstill anymore. I'm going to leave this one here and think about this a lot over the coming days and weeks. If I get another dealer's choice, or I'd have to check what's coming up in the queue, but give this a little bit of time to breathe and then circle back to this without Standstill. I think that is the way of the future. Kath, thank you for inviting me to play this deck. And no thank you at all for the realization that Standstill still isn't good enough. But I still appreciate the movement in the right direction. BoshNRoll Discord, shout out to all of you who also helped pitch in for this league. And everybody who watched. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon to join the awesome community that sponsored this league. And I will see you all for the next video.